mentioned throughout the past couple of days that the Saints have done a really good job making their assistant coaches available to the media via conference call. Well, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael was up, and he talked a lot. Talked about Jameis Winston, talked about Emmanuel Sanders, Cesar Ruiz, Jared Cook, Troutman, Kamara, his injury, lots of stuff that I want to kind of roll up the sleeves and delve into. I do want to start with the Jameis Winston conversation because, and this isn't the same old, you know how I feel, right? I wanted them to sign Jameis as soon as he was released from Tampa. I loved that they did it. I think he's got amazing potential to be a long-term option post Drew Brees. You know all of that stuff. But the angle that Pete Carmichael went talking about Jameis did catch me by surprise just a hair because of how they plan to use both Jameis and Taysom Hill. First of all, Pete Carmichael did say that was asked about, maybe dialing back some of Drew Brees' reps in practice and how that might give him an opportunity to look at the other guys.
I think again, just like since I've been here, I love the room that we got, and then dialing back some reps. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for both Taysom and Jameis as we get into the training camp and getting those guys opportunities to get some reps with the one. So you're going to see those guys mixing around. And again, I do think it is beneficial for those guys to have reps with everybody.
Reps with the ones. That's the thing that for me stands out most. Look, we all know that Drew Brees' time inevitably, like every player, is going to end. His time in the NFL will expire. My feeling is it's going to be after this year. There was a lot of discussion that Brees was telling people at the Pro Bowl last year he was done. And then he had the Instagram post of the mountain saying, let's give it one more go. Whatever caused the change of heart, I don't know. I'm glad Drew Brees is back. I think he still gives the Saints the best opportunity to win. But even though we all know Drew's time with the Saints is inevitably going to end, it's just so rare in the NFL that you groom a replacement. Now, I'm not talking about you're the Chiefs, you draft Patrick Mahomes, he sits for a year behind Alex Smith, and then he's your guy. I'm not talking about that. It's more so in any position, especially if you're looking at a team that has the opportunity to win right now, like New Orleans does. And you're saying, okay, we're going to take reps away from our guy to get the next guy ready. It's one thing if you're just dialing back to give guys rest. You give Drew a day off, and so another guy's running. But that's not what Carmichael said. So we'll dial back on Drew, which I think many expect because he's a 41-year-old quarterback, and you want to make sure that he's as fresh as possible throughout the year. But he said to evaluate Taysom and Jameis. Because I think this staff understands at the end of the season, despite the fact that Jay Glazer keeps hammering this message that it's going to be Taysom Hill, they understand that at the time they were convinced it was going to be Taysom Hill, they also didn't have Jameis Winston available. Now they do. And in an offseason where you don't have OTAs and you might only have 2 preseason games, reps to evaluate Jameis and Taysom are going to be at a premium. So clearly, there's going to be an opportunity not only to get Drew Brees rest, but to be able to evaluate both Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston to see what the future may be. The NFL is a win-now business. It's win today and figure out next year when it comes. That's something we've had this conversation round and round with Saints fans over the last half decade as people have tried to sort of time their jump with the end of the Brees era and drafting somebody to groom him and wait and see and sit and watch. And my point has always been, man, the hell with that. You're trying to win championships as long as that window is open. Figure out post-Drew Brees whenever it comes with respect to the draft, right? People say, we got to draft Drew's replacement. You got to draft the first rounder. Why? Draft a guy that can help you win now. I mean, when they drafted Ryan Ramczyk, you figure it's like they drafted Ramczyk when they had 2 starting tackles. It wasn't like we're drafting that guy to be a guy right now. It's like we'll just figure that out when it comes. And then Zach Strief got hurt. He got to play. I mean, it's rare that you see a situation like what happened with Robert Meacham. I mean, Robert Meacham was a first-round draft pick. He had a knee injury, but he was inactive his entire rookie season. You just don't see that. Like you draft guys that are going to be impact guys, not guys that you're just stashing for the future, at least not high. But I will tell you the single reason why I hope there is a preseason in some form or fashion this year. If it's 2 games, if it's 4 games, the singular reason I want that is because of this. It's probably the only chance we're going to get to see Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill run this offense in game-like scenarios. So I want to see that. Now, the potential downside is if Jameis Winston goes and plays really well, that his stock could go up and then you get into somewhat of a bidding war next offseason. Or maybe teams could just watch the fact that he threw for 5,000 yards this past year, and that makes him more appealing. A lot of people have asked about Jameis. Pete Carmichael was also asked, what does he see in Winston as a player?
Well, I think that he's a talented football player, and he's done a lot of great things in this league already, and we're excited to have him. The one thing I've just in these meetings that we've been having with these virtual meetings, and the one thing that stands out to me right away is that he's sharp, he's smart, he asks the right questions, and so he has that experience. And then he's got the ability. You see him throw the ball downfield. He's got excellent arm strength. So there's a lot to be excited about, and we're looking forward to working with him.
And they haven't even been able to get on the field with him yet. And one more, though, with Carmichael about Jameis is they brought up the interceptions. And that was a problem a year ago. And Carmichael was asked if that issue is fixable.
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is that, he recognizes it too as well. And so that's the first step. And I think that, again, in these meetings and listening to him and hearing him, ask questions, he's obviously a very smart player. But you go back and look at a lot of successful quarterbacks in this league, and Jameis is still young. He's 26 years old, and, it took some guys that are successful in this league early in their careers didn't play as well as their capabilities. And, it took Drew a couple of years to get going as well. So we feel really good about having that player in the building.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.